right? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, she totally is the boss
Hey,
of me. She's not
Zephy's
the
gonna
boss of me.
protect
Yeah,
me
she
from
totally is the
Faye
boss of me.
in
Okay.
the haunt. Yeah.
You know what?
He said
Yeah,
he's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
don't look.
protect me.
Don't
yeah,
look for me
yeah.
to protect
All
you from
right.
Faye.
No,
We have
no.
started the live stream,
I
everybody.
told you.
Welcome to Virtually Live. You are tuning
Hello.
in live in the middle of a fun discussion. Yes.
Of a fun, interesting discussion. Not heated, by the way, just a
Yes.
discussion. Um, so anyway, but we love that. We encourage that. Love it. Welcome and thank you all for being here, for watching the stream, watching the recording afterwards, things like that. Um, so, oh, there's my little kitty sound. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's see, Faye and Johnny, how have your weeks been? Let's hear it. Faye, what about you? Let's see, why don't you go first?
Busy, but good. Yeah, lots and lots of events, lots of planning for events, lots of fun. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
How about
Mm-hmm.
you?
Okay. What's up with you, Johnny?
Pretty busy too. I've had a rough couple of like almost like a rough month, but I'm finally
Yeah.
getting into my groove. Things got kind of crazy at my work, but I'm starting to kind of feel like I'm
Ooh.
able to handle things, and I'm just getting a hold of, getting back to normal. So it's been busy but good, and just loving this community that we have growing here in Banter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That everybody, most people came from another app before this, and I feel like we're almost catching that feeling that we had with the other one, where you can log on and just kind of see who's hanging out, and
Yeah.
it's a really nice thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mhm.
like somewhere where you can go and there's going to be people, and it wasn't always like that in here. So I'm loving that we have all
Right.
these people and all these shows and content, and just
Yeah.
getting to the core of what made it great before, and who knows
Mm-hmm.
what awaits us. So it's been quite the week, though.
Well, that's very cool. It is very true. A lot awaits us in the metaverse in general. I mean, all the new apps that keep coming out. Everybody starts
Mhm.
somewhere, and everybody grows to be a VR chat level thing or a rec room thing or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like everybody has their training wheels and starts, and it's great to build with a good community. So I hope that for every app. I hope that for every app that is in the multiverse and that comes out, that everybody grows with a bunch of good humans is what they should be, because that really makes it amazing. So um, well, then let's start talking about a couple of interesting topics because, well, hopefully we have
Sounds
more than a
good.
couple. But
Oh yeah.
there is something really interesting. So Elon Musk is a co-founder with a bunch of scientists of of Neuralink, which is a company that's been working on something really amazing. And I touched on it a couple weeks ago, but the idea is that they have come up with this Neuralink brain implant, and it is basically the first brain computer interface that they have now put into a human being.
Mhm.
And it's this 29-year-old guy who had a diving accident about 8 years ago. So no feeling below the shoulders, quadriplegic, played a lot, he was a gamer, did like to do all this stuff like that. And so he went ahead and he chose to do this. And he felt he wanted to be a part of this because he felt he could be a part of something that could change the world, which is amazing because
Mm.
we could all strive for that, right? In a good way.
Truly.
And what happened is they had to use a robot to actually do the surgery, which is really cool. But they went ahead and implanted this into his brain. And what this does, I was watching. They did a live stream on March 20th, a little update. It was like 9 minutes. Really cool. So he had this done. It was a 2-hour procedure. He was out the next day. No, nothing lingering, no problems, and he was able to go home, and he was able to do things that he couldn't do on his own. He was playing digital chess, which he was unable to do. He was doing he was able to like move the cursor around on the screen for things. He was able to read. Most importantly
Oh,
for
that's
him, he was
cool.
able to pull an all-nighter playing Civilization 6 because that was something that he was not able to do by himself, and he had to have a friend help him, or he had to have his parents. And his whole thing was, listen, the whole thing is so long. So he's like, there's no way I can have my parents stay up all night with me, right? So he was
Mm.
able to do that, and the first time they released the link just to his own just so he had to control himself completely. That's what he did
Mhm.
with it. He stayed up and did an all-nighter with that game, and he tends to
Incredible.
get pressure sores and things like that, like many folks do in that situation. But he said everything he dealt with was worth it for him to be able to do that. And on the live stream, he was pausing music, talking about what was going on with things and everything. He ended
Mm.
up getting to play Mario Kart 8. He's learning French and Japanese because now he can read by himself and he can work on that kind of thing. And I
Wow.
find it very interesting because the company they formed because their kind of their mission statement was to restore autonomy to those with unmet medical needs. So
Mhm.
their hope is that they can help bypass damaged spine injuries and help restore mobility to people who are paralyzed and such, um, and get that restored. Help with blindness. They're hoping that one day they can make it to where they can put cameras here that will then go up to the brain and will help blind people see in that sense. So there are a lot of things they're hoping to do. Now, the company has not been without controversy regarding animal studies and different things. I mean, that's a separate topic. But putting that aside, what they have accomplished with this is absolutely amazing and incredible. What do you guys think about that? What
It
are your
is
thoughts on all that?
It's
incredible.
amazing.
Hmm.
It's
That's that.
heartwarming, and to think that this person can go in and do video games on their own. It's a level of independence that they probably thought they'd never get again. And all you need to do is connect the dots, like put on a headset, right? Now connect that to this, and now he's in here with us, moving around. It gives me chills, and it gives me
Yep.
hope
Mhm.
for the future with people with injuries like this. In a past life, I was a medical responder, and these were some of the toughest because the amount of pressure on the person rescuing and everyone around. You move that spinal cord the wrong way, it could be the difference between they can't move their ankle or maybe they lose like
Hmm.
function to their lungs. So these kind of injuries are very
Wow.
serious, and
Hmm.
there's some rehab out there, but this is a great way to kind of keep that mind functioning and to keep entertainment or learning or anything. This is so huge and gives this person a level of independence that it's just really it warms my heart, and I hope this field advances because this is very
Hmm.
very
Mm.
awesome, I think.
It's
Hmm.
amazing. Yeah, it's incredible
What
because
do you think, Vic?
it's connecting something that's broken, that's severed, that needs a web to be able to connect and get to work again, and it's
Hmm.
providing that interface and that connection to make the body work again. What are the other
Yeah.
ways that this is going to be used? It's really exciting technology. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how it advances and the next things that come out. But yeah, reading that article, that is one of the ones that I read myself, and really, really fascinating. And there's a YouTube video that you can go out and watch where you can see all of the things that were done, and it's pretty incredible. I always
Hmm.
knew that this, that the neural implants, the one that Elon Musk was working on, was going to be something really incredible like that. So
Hmm.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see the next things.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. I want to one day see a world where there is no blindness, where no one's in a wheelchair, where
Right.
people don't even need a cane to walk, right? I mean, and my family has dealt with a lot of health issues, a lot of mobility issues. We have not been blessed genetically in that sense. So there are a
Hmm.
lot of things that I feel about this too. When I read this and when I talk to you guys about the contact lens, which is amazing, that these are things that have touched my family. So they hold a really dear place for me. And that's why being able to see what these injuries and medical things have stolen from my family and the life it has taken from them, to think that some of this could be one day given back to people is just it
Hmm.
just break. I mean, I can't even tell you. My heart just swells with this. Does
Yes.
anybody out here jump up and down if you guys have a thought about this or a comment on this? Lee, are you jumping
No,
to
no,
comment?
no, no, no,
Nope.
no, no,
Okay. Okay. Who else is jumping? Anyone else jumping? This joint is jumping. It's really jumping. Anybody? No? Okay. Oh,
Oh,
Art.
we got
Okay.
Art.
I mean, just
Okay.
to say that, I mean,
Your
it's awesome. I mean,
megaphones.
nothing I could say would change anything you guys have said. It's just 100%
It
cool.
is awesome. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Elon Musk is still a jerk, but I love what he's trying to do.
Well, I
Yes.
won't go into the details
That's
on that,
another
but
thing
the
altogether.
story. Right, but I will say that the animal situation involved in it has a lot to do with decisions he made. So so there's a lot of controversy regarding him with it. But you know what? Here's the thing: good or bad with that guy, there are brilliant advancements because of him. And
Yep.
we can't deny that. And I'm not, don't have a scale, And I'm not saying one outweighs the other. I'm putting them equal, and everybody decides from themselves where the scale goes. But we have to acknowledge that, that there is there is some bad stuff that goes along with people sometimes, but then there can also be some good stuff too, right? So it's hard to say, but I'm thankful for the advancements, and I'm thankful for people who have the ability, like a lot of these people like Bill Gates, and a lot of these folks too, who have this kind of money and who put it towards helping others. There are a lot of these billionaires who have signed this contract about giving away their fortunes before they die and things like that, and a lot of them have gone to charities and philanthropic things. And I have to
Mhm.
say, I respect and admire that, because like I said before, you know what, money itself is not impressive. You can inherit it, you can win it, you can earn it, you can find it, you can steal it, but what's impressive is what you do with that money to help change the world for the better and to help others. And so when you see something like that, and you see someone like Elon Musk, he's got a lot of weight, good or bad, but he has a lot of pull and a lot of weight, and he puts it behind things like this. And I just love that. I just really, really think
I do
that's
too.
amazing. So,
Absolutely.
but,
I know this
but
guy. He'll probably beat me so bad at the. I'm so bad at this game. He probably
well,
would just wipe the floor with
I will
me.
say, his friend and his dad or something, he said they did not let him win when he played with one of the games.
I
So
bet
that
they
was kind
didn't.
of that was awesome. So that brings up another really amazing thing with the marriage of tech and health and things like that, biology. The
Mhm.
University of Utah, there is a team there. They have made a smart contact lens that is powered by tears and by light. And this is amazing because
Ah,
anything like this always had
I'll
to have
have
some external
unlimited
power.
energy with my tears.
yeah,
Sorry.
we've been talking about how are they going to power these contact lenses, right?
Oh, I could power. Are you
Wow.
kidding? The tears I've shed over the past 4 months, I could power the earth like a
Oh my.
thousand
Yeah.
times over. Um,
Ah,
so here's the thing about it. So for example, they're, just topping on a couple things, health, obviously, they're thinking, oh, it can measure glucose, oxygen levels, blood pressure, things like that. They're thinking
mhm.
contacts that can deliver medication for ocular diseases, obviously augmented
Ooh,
reality and things like that. But I mean, these other things, you could end up having a news update in your face. I mean, we all know what about those things,
right.
but this stuff is really amazing. So the cornea of the eye, depending on how comfortable people are knowing about it, the film that goes over the eye that protects, the cornea is amazing. It has the highest number of nerve densities in the entire human body. It is
Mm.
3 to 600 times more sensitive than our skin. I mean, think about that. If you're touching something with your finger, you know how much more that is.
Oh yeah, if I
And the
get
thing
an
about it,
eyelash in my
yeah,
eye, I can
exactly.
feel it really
But what,
strongly.
like
Yes.
when I'm
Well,
eating
see,
chicken like wings, and then I touch my eye, forget about it. I'm done for the whole night.
Just forget
well,
about
here's the deal.
it.
So
The
20% of your
buffalo.
receptors, Faye,
Oof.
20% of the receptors in your cornea are responsible for letting you know about that eyelash, because 20% of the
Mm.
receptors deal with mechanical, pain and interaction. And then,
Mhm.
well, Johnny, your combination, because 70% of them, the receptors in the cornea, deal with heat and chemical response and things like that. And
Oh
then
wow.
the other
Mm-hmm.
10% deal with, like, if you're in cold air or your tears evaporate, things like that. So
Mm.
these things, these parts of our cornea, these things start to form when we're 5 months old in our mummy's bellies. So they start really, really soon, really early. And so, these things all help with you blinking of your eye, which you need for your eye health, right? Because, with dry eye, with, other issues that happen with the eyes, you've got to keep
Mhm.
moisturizing them. My family, everybody in the family deals with dry eye, so that is an issue that is really a drag. So that is something you have to think about. Um,
Mm.
the interesting thing about how they put this together is half of this uses miniaturized solar cells that they put in this contact lens, and they can be powered by the sun
Oh.
or by lamps, which is kind of super cool.
Oh
Even lamps can
wow.
power them. And the other
Wow.
half is powered by your blinking, because how your tears give this energy is from the electrolytes in your tears. It's kind of like a biofuel in a way. So it provides the energy for these. Um,
Mhm.
and of course, they're talking about the future. Now, obviously, with companies, the retail aspect, I mean, they can see what the shopper's scanning on the shelves, which is a little creepy. I don't like that.
Mm.
Athletes can get their stats in real time, like calories burned, heart rate, all that kind of stuff. But the most important thing that they're really thinking about too are things with eye issues. When we enter our 40s, our eyes start to go. and they start to change, and a lot of stuff starts to really happen in our 40s. And at first we don't necessarily realize it, but then it starts to become obvious. And the same with glaucoma. Glaucoma is, they call it the silent
Mm,
sight stealer, because it does not
yeah.
give you a heads up. You have to get tested and then see how the pressure, one day you're fine, the next day you start having high pressure in your eyes. And again,
Mm,
that's what took my dad's sight, was glaucoma, destroyed the optic nerve. And it's a genetic thing too, even if it's not about sugar levels or things like that. You can still get your glaucoma. So there's a lot of that I am very sensitive to that, situation. So with
mhm.
that said, having, knowing that this kind of thing is out there and that people are working on this is incredible. I mean, think about a little powerhouse on your eye, a little contact lens. Now, I don't know how many of you have worn contact lenses in the past. I have. And that thing is very annoying sometimes, because if they're thick or they're hard, they're very upsetting. If they're thin and soft, it's much easier. This is a silicone based lens, so I'm not sure exactly, how thick it is and how comfortable it is. But at this point, it sounds like it's on a really good course to making life so much better for people at some point. Faye, what are your
Yes.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, what are my thoughts? I mean, I think so many people who watch our podcast know that I am obsessive compulsively very excited about contact lenses to give me my augmented reality and my VR
Hmm.
Right,
experience in my life.
right.
So hearing that maybe the power situation has been solved is giving my heart flutters. I'm so excited. I mean, okay,
Could you get
so if
could you
we
get flutters
can,
about the blind people though instead of the gaming? I mean,
that's your side of the talk. I'm
Oh
all about
man.
my obsession
Yes,
with
yes, I know,
this.
I know.
Okay.
It's all right. Where's
But
my
if we
arm?
can
Okay,
solve the power issues with the tears
there it is.
of,
Where's
you
my
know,
arm?
you okay?
Sorry, my right arm. What is with my right arm? I can't
Here,
see it.
here,
Is it
grab
here?
my hand. Grab my hand. Grab my hand with
I
this
can't
one.
because I
Grab
don't
my
see
hand.
my arm.
No,
Can
the
you
other
grab
one.
my?
Oh
Oh,
boy.
Here, grab that.
okay.
Okay, I'll pull you
I
over
like to
here.
call that
There you go. There you
versed
go.
Where's my
world
right
And
arm? I
I'll
don't
problems.
I'll
see it.
rotate you. It's right over here. Here, here,
What's going on?
here. Who did you grab
Wump 'em
onto?
Gangnam style. Is my? Let me see if let me see if my controller is like. What's going on? Okay, it has
Oh my
20%.
god.
It still has 20%, so it should be working. I don't know
It,
what's going
it,
on.
take the battery out. Take the battery out of that one.
Oh no, you guys are gonna be seeing my smoke and dance moves even more now. All right, let me see. Let me get this out of here. Oh god. Ah. All right. Whoa. What is going on?
Wow. Now the other
Okay.
one's doing it. Did you take the battery out of the wrong
I did.
one?
You just told me to. Okay,
But you
hold
were supposed
on.
to take the battery out of this one, not this one.
I am. I'm taking it out of this one. Oh my god, you're not the boss of me. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see.
I feel
All right, let me see.
helpless.
I got this one back.
Oh.
Okay, that's it. The battery thing
Yay!
worked. Okay. All right,
Okay,
there we go.
I'm glad.
Okay, sorry for
Tech
that little
Wow.
support, you're
interruption.
welcome.
Okay. All right. Okay. And as you were saying about your gaming.
Um, how do I leave with that? Okay, I'll just end it quickly because I could just go on all day about contact lenses and augmented reality
That's
and how
okay.
excited
Go
I
on
am.
about it. It's all right.
It's just the power capabilities was always the most difficult thing with all of this. I mean, it really was. How are you going to charge them? Are you going to take them out? Are you going to put them in a little box and they're going to charge? You're going to have to wait and then you put them back in. But if it's just continually charging, we've got something that we can wear all day long. Oh,
Yeah, it works with whether your eyes are open or closed too. So it's
yeah.
still going when your eyes are closed. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody, you have to watch The History of You. It's an episode of the Black Mirror from a long, 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 long time ago, and
Ooh,
it's
Oh.
that one
all
was
about
intense.
these. It's all about these
Yes.
contact
Yeah.
lenses and the good things and the bad things about them. But
Yeah, that
Yes.
one really
I'm
made me
excited about the
think.
good things. It
That
does.
definitely
It's
made
an
me think.
episode
Yeah,
that makes
everybody
you
watch
think.
that if you can. It
Love
does
that
make you
Yeah,
think, and
episode.
it makes you
it
torn. It
makes
really
you really
does.
think.
It does.
Yeah.
I
Johnny,
will
what are your
say
thoughts
that
on
with
this?
these, thank you. With these contacts, it's very interesting because I see them kind of like in a safety situation. Like sometimes you look at things and you don't know if it's hot or not, right? And what if it makes it glow red hot? What if it was tied to other sensors? and just kind of looking at it as some sort of like a heads up display,
Whoa.
or let's say maybe the CO2 sensors
Interesting.
tell you like, hey, when you go into a room,
Huh.
hey, this air quality is not great, or hey, we've
Whoa.
identified an allergen of yours in the air, you know, danger. And also, I love this because if I ever run out of
Yeah.
power, I could just like ask people's opinion about my latest DJ mix and I'll power myself right up with my tunes. So this is good. But I think this is a really good situation here.
Why
Oh,
do
you
I
got me
feel I'm the one that's only
thinking.
concerned about the important stuff here? What's going on? Now, I will tell you, if I could put
I
these
mean,
lenses on and I can look at myself and see myself as a size 6, and so could all of you, then I'm okay with it. That is
Ooh,
something
yeah.
I will say. Oh my
Okay.
god.
Okay,
Oh man.
if they're on my eyes and it tells me I'm
Mhm.
having a heart attack and
Yes.
alerts the authorities, yes, absolutely amazing. Detecting
Yes.
arrhythmias, detecting things, detecting
Mhm.
blood sugar. If this can be a
Mhm.
way of monitoring your blood sugar instead of having to monitor it, yeah, that
Yep.
there's
Yep.
absolutely incredible health uses for it.
Of
But you can also
course.
take
Yeah.
pictures with your eyes.
Oh
Okay,
my
go ahead.
god. Oh my god. Okay.
Okay,
All
okay.
right. So we're let's see if you folks have any thoughts on that. Anyone here who does not want to back her up on the gaming, please jump up and down. Okay.
No, no, no.
D.
Even if you want to back me up on the gaming,
I
That
know.
episode,
I'm
that
getting you
episode was
your
super
makeup out.
scary of Black Mirror. Oh my goodness, I don't know.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting. I did, but then when they got to the part where it was just like the playback and all that stuff, it was like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like
holding your
Big
memories
Brother,
hostage.
like Big Brother, like looking in on
Yeah,
everything that you do and stuff like
yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
don't know. I,
And
I,
I'd get
I don't know
lost
if
in
I could
those
do that.
memories. I would spend too much time in them, watching them.
And
I
I have
would just not be able
glasses,
to pull
so I've
myself out.
never
Mm,
I've never like worn contacts officially. I've tried to put in
Mhm.
contacts for my like Halloween contacts, and I've been told that
mm-hmm.
those are totally different. But I could barely even
Yeah.
get one in, and I was not going to do the other. But
So
but it was horrible, so I cannot do contacts. But yeah, no, that's
I
well,
think there's
and
dangerous.
here's
difference in
here's a
texture when
little
you're doing
they are,
Halloween.
but
Mm-hmm.
here's a little thing with that, guys. Don't and when you do any Halloween contact lenses, if you do get them through an optometrist, because many of those cause eye damage and blindness, you have to be very careful with the Halloween contact lenses. As a matter of fact,
Ooh.
I don't even use them when my real life haunts. I wanted them, but I won't use them because I was too afraid of what they would cause the damage. You have to be really
Yeah,
careful, you know. And contact lenses, here's the thing too. There's some people who can't wear them. I mean, these are amazing for people who can wear them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had wanted them when I was a kid, and my parents weren't going to get them for me. But it just so happened that somehow a friend seemed to accidentally step on my glasses at school, and we had a
Oh,
major tennis match that night against our rivals. So we had no choice, I guess, for my parents to take me to get contacts that day, which is what happened.
cool.
So, so I had nothing to do with it. I'm just telling you, it was an
uh huh.
accident. I don't know anything
Sounds
about
like
it, but
it.
I
Brrr.
just didn't know my friend to be that clumsy. I thought that's a little timely, but thanks for maybe thinking of me. But
It
contact
Mm-hmm.
lenses,
happens.
I have a
Mm-hmm.
couple friends who
Yep.
literally can't wear them. They keep falling out of their eye. Their eyes are just not made for
Oh,
them, and they have
that's scary.
astigmatism that it can't even correct. So, so this is
Huh.
great. But I would love to see that they do. I mean, even the glasses, even use this, for thin, super thin, like little lens over your just the eye itself, a little teeny
I would
light
love
frame
Mm-hmm.
of
that.
glass. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
could do
But I would
this.
take them
So I hope
off
that.
like during certain times.
Yeah, well, I hope that they do it. I think it's amazing. Jem, you have a thought?
Oh yeah. So I'm the same as
Wait, wait,
Divine. I did get
wait,
con. Oh,
please.
you can't hear
Got to
me.
megaphone you. You're back there. Okay,
Oh,
gotcha.
can you hear me now? Did I do?
Now I
Okay.
can.
Um. So I'm like Divine too because I did get contact lenses. I was told at a younger age I couldn't get them because I had astigmatism, and this was when I was
Mhm.
in the States. And then when I came to Australia, they said, "Oh yeah, you definitely can get them with an astigmatism." So I was like, "Oh okay."
Mhm.
But I'm a
Yeah.
lot like her. I'm afraid of anything touching my eye, and just
Hmm.
one alone would take me like 30 minutes just to put it in my eye. I'd be like, "Nah,
It's a
Try
lot
not
easier
one
gonna
or
than
two
you
happen."
think it
hours.
is. It's
That's
it's
like
not as hard
my
as it looks, guys. It really is a lot easier. I think for me, my fear stems because
yeah.
my family has so many eye issues, and
True.
Things like that. And there have been multiple emergencies, ocular emergencies, as in get to the surgery right away, that kind of thing in my family. So for me, that's why I don't want to put anything in the eye. And I even stopped wearing contact lenses years ago. I
Mm.
wear them when I'm on stage if I have to, or when I was doing athletics. But then I just stopped wearing them because of the fact that I got really concerned about that. And then if you get
Hmm.
tired, right? If you get tired, they start to really
Mm.
irritate your eyes too. So there's a lot to that. Jem, go ahead and continue on with
Yeah,
what you were saying.
Sorry.
that's the same for me because my nana was blind and I actually have cataracts, but mine don't
Hmm.
grow, but they are watched over,
Yeah,
like for
good.
my
Yeah,
cataracts.
Mm.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I think that's the other thing is just to protect them. I'd rather wear a pair of glasses than worried about like I really read it into them and it's like make sure you take them out when you shower, make sure you take them out when you're swimming, yeah, I've
Mm.
heard people who fell asleep with them and then they got stuck to
I
their
have.
eyeballs. I'm like,
Oh,
Yes,
"Mm,
that
I've
happened to
heard of
me
that
a
too.
couple times. Oh god, it's horrible. Or they get caught up
oh,
behind your eyelid, like way back up behind your
mm,
eyelid folded, and
Oh
you
my
can't get them.
god.
It's
No,
horrific.
no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Well, that
mm,
That
that
sounds
reminds
horrible.
me. I actually had to go to the doctor for one thing. We were on a large wildland fire, and
Mhm.
my eyes were bothering me after. And then my eye doctor, who also ended up being a volunteer firefighter from like another, my eye doctor's like, yeah, you really should take these, like, throw them away after you're on a wildland fire because
Oh
all that
yeah, that makes
The
sense.
particulate
smoke.
matter goes
Yeah.
into your contact. Yeah, and it just like
Oof.
embeds in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no wonder. So I would have to get like a whole, like, throw them out every time we would have a large incident. And I never knew that.
Mm.
Mm.
So there's all kinds of stuff that can get put in those contacts and
Well, you had
kind of
disposable,
mess
right?
with your eyes. I did, yeah. I do the
Same
ones
here.
like
Yeah.
they're supposed to be a month, but you're supposed to be able to
Oh
sleep with them. But I
no,
take them off every night. I'm
don't.
very, like, yeah. I
Yeah.
get.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
listen, I'm all into this VR. I ain't messing around, so
Right.
I'm taking
Well, let
care
me
of
tell
my
you,
eyes. Because what am I
that's the
gonna
other
do
thing.
if I
The
get?
VR.
Yeah.
We don't know in the
Mhm.
future what
Mm-hmm.
this is going to happen to our eyes. Being in VR goggles like this all the time, I even asked my eye doctor, "Can I do this?" Because I do
I
this,
did too. Yeah.
and I check on it, and they say they haven't seen anything yet, but we're never going to know for many years down the line if this is affecting our eyes, right? But I
What
will
if it
say with
Mine was
improves your
disposable
vision?
lenses,
improved.
well, I don't know, but
Yeah.
the thing about
Mine was
contact lenses is that
actually
it's great if
improved.
you can wear them in here, but I love that they have the lenses
Mhm.
you could put on here, so you don't need them or your glasses. But contact lenses, if that's the other thing too. If you guys have a month-long contact lens, just get the daily disposables. When I would be coming home like 2
Mm-hmm.
a.m. from a show or a haunt, and I'm on the freeway, my eyes start hurting. Literally, I'd take them out and just throw them out the window and put my glasses on because you can throw them anywhere. They're just these tiny little things, and even though
Hmm.
they say you can sleep in them, the eye specialists are still saying, you know what, they make them like that, but you
Mm-mm.
should never do that. You should always take them out every day. So,
Wow.
Ark, you had a thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw a quick plug to a very good friend of SideQuest and Banter. Disco VR actually did a YouTube video about this very thing about 6 weeks ago, I think. And anyone who hasn't seen it, I highly
Hmm.
recommend you watch it. She did such a fantastic job also talking about this. So just a quick plug for her.
About
Great
the
video.
contact lens.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh,
Disco
nice.
VR if
Okay.
you look it up.
Anyone else?
Yep.
Anybody jumping up and down? No, because it's a very intriguing topic, that's for sure. Okay. Well, let's kind of move towards a little bit of AI and a little bit of homework stuff and all this. So I'm gonna first lead in with
Mhm.
this little teeny thing, which I thought was interesting. So there was a mom whose 8-year-old daughter brought home her homework, right? And we know how it is. Kids bring home the homework and, we'll sometimes, oh, let's work on this now before you can do anything else after dinner, before TV, for games, whatever.
Mm.
So this girl was working on her homework and she needed a little help from mom. And what this was it was a cute little bunny. And the idea being, oh, it's not up there, but there it is. There's a little bunny. And so what you would do is you would do the math equations, and whatever the sum was, it would be equivalent to a certain color, right? So you could see how she's colored it in, right? But if you look at
Mhm.
that one ear, there's a little area that's yellow instead of red. And
Mhm.
so the mom thought, what's wrong? So she did it over and over, and they're like, no, it's correct. And she thought maybe it was a mistake. We're not sure what's going on. Well, she then found out that a lot of schools are doing this now. That's done on purpose because they want to know that the kid actually did their homework and is paying attention. They try to trick them. They put these little things in
Oh.
there to make sure they're paying attention and not just coloring. They could just color in the colors, but that
Mhm.
way they have to make sure they do the homework for it.
It
The
ruins the
And
numbers.
picture,
it was
though. Like,
That's
how are you gonna hang
crazy.
that on the
well,
fridge?
Well, if you're a parent, you'll hang anything on the fridge, you'll figure it out. It's very interesting though, the
Um,
statistics on things I was looking into too for this when I was looking at this. So they were talking, let's say 10 of the high performing high schools. This is the thing that gets me. They found that 3.1 hours of homework is what they were doing for these high performing high schools, right? Which was really good
Mhm.
for their learning and everything. But they started to see the students were sorry, I have to laugh at this. Ay, ay, ay. The students were experiencing higher stress, and they said they had sleep deprivation. They lost time with friends, family, extracurricular activities, all as the result of having to do homework. All
Sounds like
right.
adulthood.
So yeah, so first of all, I mean, just a sidebar. Oh, you poor babies. Yeah, no. Homework is homework, and here's the thing: sticking your nose in your phones and your video games and staying on VR and all that stuff. That is what takes you away from friends, family, and things like that who are near you. But the fact
Mhm.
that they're trying to say that homework is causing them to not be able to engage and that they're stressed and they don't get to sleep. 3.1 hours, 3 hours of homework after you come home and you have dinner. I mean, you still get to sleep, right? So I just
Yeah.
think back at the time when I was growing up, right? And we had a ton more homework than that because now kids have
Mhm.
computers and phones and AI and stuff to speed through
To
it.
make it
You
faster.
know,
Yep.
yeah, but we had long conversations on the phone with friends. We still got to be, I still have
Mhm.
friends to this day from kindergarten. So I mean, we built really strong bonds. So I don't know. I just I don't know the way the times change. It's kind of intriguing. Um, so anyway, this they started to find out that apparently they're doing this with English homework and they're doing this with all kinds of homework in schools now. And apparently, many parents were finding this and thinking it was a mistake, and then I guess she found it on Reddit and on some other publications that this was something that they were doing.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, do any of you guys have kids who have to come bring homework home, and do some homework at night and everything, or have you? I'm kind of curious. D, I'm kind of curious about that situation because are you finding
mm,
that homework is a detriment in any sense of the word?
um, well, I haven't witnessed anything like that, and if I did, it would mess with my OCD like crazy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's getting kind of like I honestly I don't even understand my son's homework sometimes, and he's only in third or fourth grade. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's like what
Yeah.
is
Getting a lot.
this like the math is so different nowadays. I don't even want to go there, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
he does have parts where even has to do homework over the weekend and everything like that as well, so
Mm.
it's getting
Mm-hmm.
like that. Yep. I don't know.
Okay.
I,
Wow.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else have any Jem, how about you? How was homework with your kids?
Okay, so my kids were one of those kids that after school they had to do their homework, right? But in the
Mhm.
United States, I do feel, well, my kids are in their 20s now, but I'm saying back then when I was in the States, I felt like they were loaded with homework even in kindergarten, right? But the
Mhm.
minute I brought them
Mm.
over to Australia, they got, if they started in primary school, they call it elementary school, they got one piece of paper for the whole week and they brought it home to me. And I told them that they were lying to me because I was amazed how less homework that Australia gives these kids when your kid is writing a book report pretty much in kindergarten in the United States, but over
Uh-huh.
in
Wow.
Australia,
Facts.
one piece of paper. And I was like, "You're
What?
lying. I'm going to your teacher. I gotta go talk to them. There's something not right here." They want the children to understand is school is really kind of schoolwork. When you come out of school, that is your family time. Because I live
Mhm.
in New South Wales, I can't vouch for the other states, but shops close here at 6 o'clock p.m. so people stay home to spend time with their
Whoa.
family.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, so that's a whole
Yeah.
6?
thing, a whole
Wow.
system.
There is a
Okay.
few shops
Wow.
that do stay open late, like Kmart
Uh-huh.
is open till
Okay.
10 p.m. But I mean, they do that because it's part of like, this is family time. This is where you need to be,
How
so
Wow.
interesting.
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. So it's a whole system with the entire country then, huh?
Not the whole country because I actually found out from people from Melbourne, it's a bit different that their shops do stay open late. I think it depends on state to state, which is probably the only thing that ever is different from state to state because everything else is
Hmm.
pretty much the same. But
That is
yeah.
really
Wow.
Hmm.
interesting. But you know what? Here's the
Fascinating.
thing. I'd be interested to compare. I mean, if the learning, the aptitudes are equivalent, then that is amazing. Then they're doing something right. I mean, because I think that's wonderful that they have the time with the family. But that's the thing, that they spend it with the family. That they're not going to
There's
just be running off in the corner on a cell phone or a video game or
hmm
something. You know what I mean? I think that
but
that
there's
it should all be equally spaced.
Yeah, but there's
Eh,
also another thing that I loved is because kids in America, well, my kids
Uh-huh.
started in high school, you start class, you're in class by 7:30 a.m. Middle school kids 8:30, 8:45, and primary kids at 8:30, where in Australia all your children start school at 9 a.m. so they're home having breakfast and not getting rushed off
Wow.
out of the house to go to
Oh,
school.
that's really cool.
Oh my
Yeah.
That is
goodness.
really
I
a
can
nice
sleep
system.
in.
That's sleeping
Yeah.
in. That's still early for me, but okay. That's amazing. Yeah, no, that's
Mhm.
wonderful. Oh my god. Well, let me put something else to you guys here on the other side of this, on the teacher side of things. I'm kind of curious what people's thoughts are on this because there's a lot of controversy about this situation. They have found that teachers are using AI now to grade essays and homework and things like that.
Oh.
There's this one teacher talking about how she runs her stuff through Chat GPT and asks it to criticize the kids' essays and homework and to write on ideas on how to improve it. And she also requires her students to do it too with their drafts so that they can put it through for improvements. And
well,
so here's the thing. Well, I'll go back to, but I mean, if a kid's doing that, and telling them how to make it better, and they turn in a better version to the teacher, you're not going to know where that child needs help. Where they need help from what
Right.
they're putting in. But
What they know how
um,
to do, unless
yeah.
it's about
So
prompt crafting. Sorry.
exactly. Right, right. No, it's true. And but see, the studies have shown half the colleges in 2023, half the college students use this stuff, right? And they have found that faculty was only using maybe 9% of the time. Up until 2023, it jumped up to faculty using it 22% of the time. They use it to
Mhm.
assist the grading papers, to give feedback, to develop lesson plans, to create assignments and quizzes, creating videos and interactives, and basically, listen, they put in guidelines for students on using this stuff, right? But there are no guidelines for teachers. You have a lot of parents spending a ton of money on tuition who are not thrilled, thinking, well, what is my money? What's this worth then? There's a lot of ethical concerns, excuse me. um, and they're saying too that some of the schools are saying, "Oh, the teachers can grade faster, and it can relieve boredom." Well, look, relieve boredom. Okay.
Mm, okay.
Um, I'm not, I get it, but you know what? You're there just to read what your students are doing and help them out, and I'm sure the people on a canning factory assembly line, they get bored too, and it's monotonous. But you know what? This is part of what the job is. So
Mhm.
so what does this come down to? Do teachers, and I'm gonna state this. I am a major advocate of teachers. They don't in this state, especially, they don't get paid enough. They need to be more well respected. Growing up, my best friend, she's a runs a school right now. She was a principal and a major admin in a school now and all this. And so I get it. I have a ton of people in my life who have been and are teachers, many of my close friends. And I have always been an advocate on the teachers need it better. But I have to ask, then you go to a situation where if a chatbot is going to be doing AI is going to be doing the majority of the teacher's work, then what are they going to do? I mean, like, I don't know.
Hmm.
It's confusing to me. Faye, what are your thoughts on that?
Things are changing, right?
Mhm.
Things are changing. We are getting new technology, just like, I mean, we eventually had calculators, and eventually we had graphing calculators, TI-82.
Mhm. Mhm.
And things
Yeah.
completely just, technology just keeps making things have to evolve. And with
Mhm.
AI out there now, things are evolving, and we will find our way around it like we found our way around all of the other different tools that come out, and different things that are evolving. We'll find our grip hold, but at the very beginning, it is a difficult position because we don't know what to do at the time. There has to be
Yeah.
regulations in the school that they come up with, and that they're able to logistically be able to determine if AI was used in a case. And
Mhm.
I, pretty soon it's just going to completely change. I mean, when
Yeah.
people have more access to things like that.
Yeah. No, that's true. Okay, Johnny, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You probably can't take why I was the kid that did the homework on the bus, the morning of, so you can't really take too much from me. And like, I was kind of the one that was like, "Hey, what'd you get for name?" But in all seriousness, like,
For
what
name.
happens here, your skill set, right? If you look at technology, it's changing every aspect of our lives.
Jesus Christ.
And
Right.
the subjects everyone here learned when they were in school may no longer apply, or like the fundamentals,
Mhm.
yes, but now you're going to need to know how to prompt. In my job alone, in order to keep up with all the endless stuff, it helps to be able to use this. So maybe AI should be its own subject in these schools, kind of like
It
typing
will be.
was, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
computer, and my favorite, music tech, right? So and I'm not against teachers using this technology. It's
Mhm.
just they need to be, there needs to be checks and balances in place. And I just love that it's full circle, that we go from kids trying to cheat doing their homework, which they're still, yes, it's cheating, but they're using
Yeah.
skills to come up with something. And that's
True.
basically what everybody does at work to try to draft an email, or whenever there's a show idea or some project I want to do. The first thing I do is I think throw it in there and then chisel out what I want from it. And it's that skill set of using it as a tool, not a
Mhm.
crutch, that needs to be taught to the teachers
Yeah.
and both the students. This is exciting, the amount of possibilities for education, but it's like with anything, right? There's a good and a bad, but I think
Yeah.
this is a good idea if there's checks and balances in place. We need the principals to use AI to police the teachers, with AI to police the students with AI.
Pretty much. Guys, what do you got? Anybody out there
Yes.
haven't thought about anything? Jem?
So did you ever hear that saying from your mother, your father? Back in my day, we used to do
Yeah.
this, and then our time has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I think like as us, as the older, as us being an older generation, we do learn a lot from the younger generation. You know, our brain don't
Mhm.
turn to mush because there's gonna
Mhm.
come a time when they're learning today, their kids are going to grow up learning something else new, and then they're going to turn
Yeah.
around and say, but back in my day. So you know,
Yeah.
you got to kind of just go with it, but at the same time I
Mhm.
do think there's certain little things you have to keep. um
Mhm.
when computers did come out for my children and their homework was done, I was more of the parent that was like, no, we're going to the library, we're going to go get the book, because now libraries are starting to close because they're no longer really being used as much as
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
used to
I
be,
love
you
I
know.
used to love the library. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. No.
Mm.
Okay. Ark, what about
I
you?
mean,
And this was a major discussion on Upload VR about a month ago. But as far as where it's going, and a lot of what you guys said, I couldn't say it better than what the three of you have already said. But the technology, like you said, continues to evolve, and we're at a point where if it's very important for people to learn the basic skills of this, because many years ago NPR had a bit where they talked about what literacy means, in as much as that once upon a time literacy just means can you read and write. And they said, and
Mhm.
this is going back more than a decade ago, professional literacy, for over 20 years now, also includes the ability to use computer skills. The next
Mhm.
evolution in literacy, if you don't know how to use AI, I'm sure that we're going to get to a point where if you don't know how to use AI, you won't be considered professionally literate as well. Because one of the things they
Wow.
talked about on Upload VR is it's not so much people that it's not that AI is necessarily going to replace people's jobs per se. It's people that know how to use AI will replace the people who don't know how to use AI to accomplish those same
Mhm.
skills with greater efficiencies. And on top of that, if I get the complexities of this, but if AI needs to become its own educational discipline, in as much as that now we're coming into problems with deep fakes and understanding what
Mhm.
kind of characteristics that AI has that is dishonest and honest, and having the mental wherewithal for kids and teachers to understand what is and what isn't true based on AI is going to become a very critical skill. I mean, we struggle with
Mhm.
that with
Mhm.
just traditional media. How much of it is propaganda, how much of it is true, and that's only going to get exponentially worse. So you guys were all of you completely right, but it's also one of those things we have to learn how the nuances of AI, or else we're going to be just the victims of it,
Mhm.
as far as like propaganda and all the other things that can go with it, good and bad.
Well, and I agree with all that. I just have to say, for example, like, you know how when kids we grew up looking at a clock or at a watch with a dial on it, then the LED comes in, and there was a completely gone in a generation that kids did not know how to read the time, tell the time on a dial or
I
something.
still don't.
And yeah,
I'm
they still don't.
embarrassed to
So,
say
but
it, but I
here's my
still
thing
don't
though.
know how to.
AI is amazing, right? And AI, I know a lot of people that love to use AI and things like that. I don't use it the way a lot of people do because I still like to I like to create. I've always liked to create myself, so I like to create my stuff and write my stuff myself. But I will say that when it comes to things like that, AI is amazing, and I'm hoping to get to the point where I'm more into it and everything too. But let's not use that, in place of let's not lose the ability to reason and to think and to discern good and
Right.
bad and black and white and all these different things that we're reading on a page, because I think that what happens is we all of a sudden adopt something so new that we lose what was before.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I think there should be a happy medium. I think it should all be included in different ways. There needs to be regulation. There need to be rules and things like that in place. I'm for all of it. I'm for all of it, but I'm also for not losing what got us here in the first place. I
Mhm.
think that's really important.
You
So,
you bring up a
but I will
huge
say,
point, and
mhm,
here's the thing, right? And I love what you're saying because we know what it's like to kind of not to be around without AI. The kids
Right.
these days, they're going to have it always. It's like when you grew up with the internet,
True.
true.
like the ones who didn't have the internet when they were younger, it's different. So what the way I use AI is I prompt it to prompt me, if that makes sense. Like I get
Mhm.
stuck in a rut and I'm like, all right, give me some ideas, and then I feed off of that. But someone who didn't have AI as a young adult or child. What's going to happen to someone who has AI all the time? Are they going to be able to use it to kind of like
Mm.
as for inspiration or as a muse of some sort,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
Right.
that's what's kind of me. And then if you go on that part with the education, what if you use it to make things interesting? Like write me a story about the whatever the pilgrims or whatever to make it interesting for kids to learn. Like there's so many
Yeah.
possibilities. Like it could be
See, and I
used to
agree
help
with
learning
that.
too.
See, and I think it
Mhm.
should be used to help. I think it should be used to assist and things like that. I mean, I mean, I have friends tell me all the time, if I'm writing a script or I'm writing a song, they're like, "Oh, have AI do it," and it's like, but it's not in my voice. Then, do you know what I mean? It's not me.
Mhm.
I prefer to do it the old way. It takes me longer, but I prefer to write the script myself. I prefer to write these songs myself, the lyrics, because that is in my voice and that is me speaking. That's not the computer generated. And that's great because I
Yeah.
get it. There are programs that will write it all for you, and that's wonderful, especially if people like that, they need it, it helps them, that's fantastic. I think it's a personal preference though. I think I
Hmm.
think it is. I think it really is.
Yeah.
But I will say, before we move on to anything though, guys,
Mhm.
I'm feeling a little anxious here. I'm feeling like
Are
I
you?
gotta move a little bit. I am, and I don't know what to do about that. So I'm wondering, we're all jumping around here. Is there anything we can do about that? Can we get this out of our
I think
system
there
just
might be
really
something we
quickly?
can do about that.
Anything at all? Johnny, what are you thinking?
There
Is there
might
something we
be.
could do?
There might
There
be.
might be, maybe. Oh
Can you
God,
help
oh God,
us?
what's happening?
Can
What's
you
happening?
help us?
My arm goes away. Now my leg. Oh, dance break, everybody! Woo! Yeah, yeah.
Everybody come join us out on the dance floor. We got a dance break here. Woo!
Zed, Zed, come out here. Bum, bum,
Yeah, we
bum,
want our
bum,
cameraman to
bum,
dance with
bum,
us.
bum. Come dance with us. Yeah, there you go.
Cameraman.
Bum,
Woo!
bum, 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 bum.
Woo!
Divine, look at you. You
Meow,
are mad.
Woo!
a
Woo!
little dance. Meow, meow, meow. Woo, all right. Yeah, that's what I needed.
Woo! Woo!
Good.
Whoa.
Oh.
Nice. Oh,
Wrong
let's
one.
jump in the water.
I was gonna say it's a little angry kitty or
Sorry, I
something.
stepped on the cat. I'm sorry.
That's just so
Poor
sad
kitty
in so many
cat.
ways. Oh my
Poor kitty
No,
lord.
cat.
that was good.
Now guys, because we have about 6 minutes left, we're still gonna chat for a few minutes after that. But I did want to say, since we're on the topic of the different generations and stuff, there is something I did want to bring up which I found interesting.
Mhm.
This is about the phones, right? You know how everybody's got their face in their phones, and kids with their phones and with social media and internet, and there's a lot of bans, in schools, don't use your phone. You've got bullying, you've got harassment. It's contributing to a lot of mental issues with kids and things like that. So the schools have banned a lot and all that kind of stuff. However, what's happening now is Gen Z is doing this themselves. They're putting down their smartphones and they are adopting flip phones. They are going back to the old school flip phones as a
Oh,
generation, which is
look,
amazing. I was like, "Are you
Oh,
kidding
I
me?"
like that.
And
Like
Look at those
smart
oh
big
yeah,
numbers. I
yeah.
flip
can see
phones?
those.
Like smart
see
So
flip
that's
during
phones
cool.
or
If
just
you want to
actually
talk,
during
just
no
jump up,
right
T9
Yeah.
here,
so I
T9
can hear
right
you.
texting?
here.
It's still
Yeah,
pretty
no.
Remember
So
good.
what's
T9 texting?
happening?
Beep
Because
beep beep
obviously
beep
during
beep.
I
the
hear you. I'm
pandemic,
gonna.
during the pandemic, it was a very everybody. We were all addicted to our social medias and our phones and just everything, obviously. But what's happening is that made so many that gave so many addictions to so many of these folks, and so there's this one girl who was talking about it, and what happened is she and all of her friends decided together that they were going to ditch their smartphones, and they all got flip phones. And so they are saying that their mental well-being is amazing. They don't feel the fact that they have to quickly check their phone and get
Oh
opinions and
man.
see this and that. It's just complete engagement. So they're able to engage with each other, with people, spend time together, enjoying one another's company. Um,
Hmm.
even at parties, everyone was always on their flip phones, but they're saying now this is great. When people are doing this, people are talking to one another again. People are spending time
That's
together.
awesome.
When I was young and I went to parties, you know what? It was amazing. We got to chat all the time. You were constantly talking to people, hanging with your friends, dancing,
Hmm.
doing all this amazing stuff. And it's crazy to me how many people who are just okay, they're on their flip phones or their laptops or this or that. Even at a party, it's like, oh my God, you're missing out on so much fun. And they even said
Mhm.
that they started to feel that they
Yeah.
were missing out on what their parents and the past generations were talking about, were going on about.
Hmm.
Huh.
And for some people, it's nostalgia. It's kind of nostalgic. It's kind of really really interesting. But this improves people's self-image. They started to see with studies, it's improving self-image, self-esteem. It's improving a lot of stuff. And I don't know, Johnny, what do you think about that? I mean, you can't be checking out your Tinder
Uh,
all the time, but
I need to check out my Tinder when I need to power my contacts. That's the best way to do it. So, anyways, um, there's no better satisfaction than hanging up on somebody with a flip phone. I'm glad they get to
oh
experience
snap!
that. That's such a
It's like
satisfying
Hmm.
turning the key in
snap.
Dungeons of Eternity. When you turn
And
the key in the
it,
chest, that oh, there's something so
exactly. It's just so
satisfying. Yeah.
satisfying. And the other thing is, and I've said this before, and people that know me may have heard this, it's kind of one of my things. And that's what I like about here. There's no cell phone you have in VR, so you get a hint of what that connection with somebody was, not having that
Yeah.
phone all the time. Like when you talk to
Yeah.
somebody, you're talking to them in VR more or less, right? And there's no distractions. Now of course you have
Right.
OVR toolkit or whatever, and you can have windows up, but there's just like it harkens back to that. How do you call it, the way to connect with somebody and that communication.
Disconnect.
So I think this is good, you know.
Engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Faye, what do you think?
Yeah. I think that is awesome because there's so much that's probably lost in your special moments with having a fancy smartphone with you all the time because it can take
Right?
away from some of the best moments that
Mhm.
you would have without that. So yeah, I could see that being really cool.
And it's funny too when you were saying, Johnny, about being satisfying. You know how like you're talking to someone, and you're like, okay, whatever, and you hang up. But then when you're talking to someone and you're mad, you're like, oh, and you like slap. They don't hear it, but man, you feel good when you hear that thing slamming,
Hmm.
right? And let me tell you
Oh
something,
yeah.
engaging at parties, you know what? I have memories that I cannot ever replace for engaging at parties that I went to when I was younger and stuff like that. And let me tell you, the communication is important. I was after I graduated high school, my friend had a party and a bunch of people were there, and my very first boyfriend, Dan, was there, right? And we were in sixth grade when he was my very first boyfriend, and we were in band together. I was up front and flute, and he was in trumpet in the back and everything. But the thing about it is that Dan and I ended up, not broke up the next year. But here's the thing: at that party in high school, all those years later, he came up to me, and can I just say, oh, guy was rock solid. He'd started working out. I was like, why weren't you like this in sixth grade? But he went ahead and he asked me why I never kissed him. in sixth back when he was my boyfriend. And this was in sixth grade. He carried this with him all these years. And I had to tell him the truth. And I told him, Dan, let me tell you the truth. And this is at the party. This is the memory. Dan, here's the deal. I turned around in band. I saw you pick your nose and eat it. And you know what? He didn't deny it. He's all, did
Oh.
I really?
Oh,
He's all, did I
no.
really?
Enough.
And I'm like, you did.
That's
And he says,
disgusting.
oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, and you're not going to deny it? And he's all, no. I'm like, oh, dude.
Oh my
So
Ew.
he's,
gosh. So
yeah.
if
So there
you
are
if
certain
you
memories to be made.
so
Mm,
what you're
maybe that's
saying
my
here
problem.
possibly is if you actually had a smartphone during that time and you had missed his nose picking and you were engaged in your
Oh
Right?
smartphone,
no. Oh
he
no.
may be
Right?
yours now.
He
Oh
could have been
no.
mine now. And I've dated 3, which is ironic, Faye. I've dated 3 Dans in my life. I've had 3
I know,
boyfriends named
I
Dan
know,
in my
I
life,
know.
and it's just so funny. And each one is very unique, but it's kind of funny because that one there set the standard, and I was just all remembering that. And it's a memory, it's gross and nasty, but we laughed about it. And what I'm thinking about is how funny it was after that, because our friends that were still our friends at the time were kind of nearby, and they were telling him they were laughing. We all shared a really great laugh, right? And that's a wonderful memory that I have that it wouldn't have had with the cell phone. And I'm not gonna lie, hugging him when he was like a stone. Oh, never forget that feeling. But what we got some really good feelings from that. So that said, I mean, if kids are all in their phones and they're these texting back and forth,
Mhm.
you know what? Communicate, talk to each other, face to face, engage with people,
Yeah.
with human beings. It's the richness is so amazing. And so hearing about this, I was so excited to hear about this situation with these flip phones because now these kids can get to really, let's get to know each other. And they're even saying how they're getting better relationships and it's really enriching their lives. And I love hearing that because here's the thing, some of these people are going to have children, right? So guess what? There's no concern about them having a disconnect from their own children, which many of people will because they grew up with this situation. Now they're going to realize the importance of connection and of taking that time to disconnect and how you develop these enriching relationships. And it's fantastic because then they can start to raise their children that way. And maybe we will get back to a society where people talk to one another and engage with one another and support one another instead of, bully and harass and shame and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I
Mhm.
just I just love that about it. Does anyone in the audience have any thoughts about that? D?
Hold on. Am I okay? I had to make sure I was
I gotcha.
unmuted. Thank you.
Oh.
I personally I like it, but at the same time, I don't know if I'd be able to put mine down. Um, honestly, but
Mhm.
I like it because like you said, it brings people together, and I'm tired of people now. Now I may not be one of the gens, but
Mhm.
I get tired of people not wanting to talk on the phone anymore. Like all they want to do
Yep.
is message
Yep.
on Messenger or
I
Mhm.
or
hate that.
whatever.
Yep.
And my sister, even my
Yeah.
sister, I tried to call her the other day and she's like, just text me. I'm like, no, pick up the phone. I want to talk to
Mhm.
you and hear your
Mhm.
voice.
Right.
But she's like, just text
Right.
me.
Well, I think
So
too
yeah.
for important things like birthdays, unless someone's like just don't, I will always call someone for
Yeah.
a birthday, or I will always, and if that's unless we started a relationship that's texting, that's what they like, fine. But for me, I think important things should always be delivered and spoken to and shared, in person or via voice. I think
Yeah.
texting and things like that, it's like no, no, you got to really honor that, and honor the person. So, but I agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to put it down, and listen, I can't put mine down all the time. I mean, I think it's important for us to not be able to put it down to keep up with things, but at the same
Mhm.
time, to be able to put it down for a while. Like some of these kids, they still have their smartphones. They go out and take their flip phone. But when they come home, they've got their smartphone that they can go and take a look at something if they want to. But when they're with people and they go outside the house, they're taking their flip phones with them. So there's kind of
I
a
mean,
Mm.
I'm
hybrid
playing
situation too.
solitaire right now on mine, so I'm
Oh.
How
so,
dare you?
I gotta
Anybody
make
else have
that
any thoughts they
money.
want to share? Anybody else? Any thoughts? So there's a couple more things that we could talk about, but we'll save them for next week because I just want to go ahead and say we'll bring this to the close. But I want to thank everybody for being here. As always, thank my wonderful co-hosts. I love spending this time with them. It's always a treat for me to be able to share moments and special occasions and events like this with people I love, who I'm very close to. So I appreciate that and love you both very much, and being able to be with them as opposed to
Love you too.
just random strangers. So So this is fun, and thank you guys. Also, some of my dear close friends I love in the audience, and I just appreciate all of you. And those of you I will come to love. so, so saying that, thank you for being here. Have a wonderful week. Be good humans, guys. Go and help each other out. Please, please, please go out this week and do something good for yourself and for someone else. Johnny, any thoughts? Closing thoughts?
No. Just appreciate everybody coming, and if anybody has the answers to next week's quiz in English, let me know, and have a great week.
Quick, get on the AI. Faye?
I'll call my sister.
Everybody, thanks for coming, and we'll see you here at the same time, same place every week, and let's go sing some karaoke.